EB5 is more of a need than a want. You want to move to a developed country and settle yourself there. Now, if that's your need, you will always feel that you're inadequate because of a visa status. There is a clear difference in salary between OPT students, H-1B visa holders, and green card holders. So your true ROI is what you can do with that green card.
Hi everyone, my name is Eela Dubey and I'm the co-founder and CEO of EduFund and Victim, and welcome back to another episode of EB5 Decoded. My guest today is the Chief Revenue Officer of Golden Gate Global, Abhinav Lohia. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have had the opportunity to get to know you in the last 24 hours and you have a very interesting background, but I would love for you to share from the horse's mouth who you are and what brought you into EB5?
EB5 happened to me by accident. And so my background in general is that I used to be an attorney in India. I practiced law in India for 5 years, moved to the States, got my master's in law, got licensed in New York, and then just saw this job posting which stated we need a dual qualified India, New York licensed attorney. And I applied and then got the job. And at the job interview was the first time I heard of EB5. And over the last 13 years, it just became my career move.
So your story is one that I think is the quintessential story of a lot of Indian students, which is the serendipity of coming to the United States to study, landing a job, getting a status to stay back and work into permanent residency. I'm sure in the recent past, you have gotten calls from parents in India who have kids studying abroad.
Right.
And they're reading the news. First thing these families say to you when you interact with them.
So most of the families, they're moving their children to the States to study, but the end game is that their kids get gainfully employed in the United States. Right. So it's not just for education. In fact, I would say there are more families that want their children to study in the States and live there versus study in the States and come back. So it's just a ripple effect of change in administration where F1 visa regs, they become stricter and parents are like really concerned about their children. First of all, not even getting an F1 visa, right, to move to the States to study. And then those who are lucky and get their F1 visa, then you always hear that OPT will go away, or as an international student, it's really hard for them to get internships because why would a US employer hire an international student when there is no certainty around H-1B because it's lottery? And second, under the current administration, that whole clause that you have to pay $100,000 to even register applicants for H-1B, right? So I think parents are really concerned about these changes, and you can never take it for granted.
Is there a specific type of question that makes you feel that for these parents, it's not a visa question, it's a fear question, right? A fear for their child's future?
Yeah, so recently it's been, can my child even travel? Should they even leave the States while studying? And so they're missing holidays, and the parents are, in some cases where if the parent cannot travel to the States, they go for a few years without seeing their child in person. So yeah, definitely, I get these concerns a lot, and parents have sleepless nights because of that.
Walk me through a worst case scenario with a sleepless night situation. So a kid comes to the United States for a world-class education. They get their OPT, which for STEM designated degrees is 3 years. H-1B fails. What's next?
What's next is, if you still have time on OPT, then you just try your luck the next year. But like I got a master's in law and it's a non-STEM field. So my OPT was just 1 year.
Wow.
So it's make it or break it. And you don't make the H-1B lottery, you leave the country. And that actually happened with me. So I graduated from law school, got licensed in New York, was working for a New York firm, and I filed my own H-1B because it's an immigration law firm, and I did not make the lottery.
Yeah. You went through the grind, it
Yeah.
sounds like, right? You worked exceptionally hard, and for a lot of families that send their kids abroad and want to put their children through this US education, they're doing the same thing, right? They may not necessarily have deep pockets, but they are saving and spending for their child's education to ensure
Right.
they have what they hope is an exceptional future. There is this perception that EB5 is only for deep-pocketed families or individuals.
Now you want to move to a developed country and settle yourself there. Now, if that's your need, then you need a green card. And because in the States, it's next to impossible to kind of fulfill the potential that you have
Sure.
without having permanent residence or citizenship. So you will always feel that you're inadequate because of a visa status. You have the talent and everything. So to live up to your full potential, people, they need a green card, right? And it is not a matter of privilege, because we see so many H-1B visa holders who may come from middle-class families in India, but because of their RSUs or their savings, they've put together 800K or taken funds from friends and family and just filed an EB5 because they want certainty in life. Historically, India, the most attractive asset class has been real estate, right?
Yes.
And it so happens a lot of times people have all these assets that cannot be liquidated. And they have caused a liquidity concern which has taken them to more of a middle class, although their assets, just the valuation of their assets, they are actually upper middle class or high class, right? And because they don't have liquidity, they are unable to afford EB5. I think that mindset is changing. Now parents are getting rid of their hard assets and gifting those funds to their kids.
Yes.
And in turn, their children become their best investment. There is a clear difference in salary between OPT students, H-1B visa holders, and green card holders. So your true ROI is what you can do with that green card.
Correct.
So they are investing in their own child. Their child becomes their investment.
There are elements of this ROI are there when you choose that EB5 versus depending on just a lottery choosing you.
Yeah, so I've not even scratched the surface when it comes to differences. I think the biggest difference is choice of occupation, choice of profession. Because let's face it, all visa categories are restricted. When you get an OPT, it may sound like you don't need work authorization, you can work anywhere. That's not true. You're restricted to your field of study, right? And you also want to work for organizations that in the future will sponsor your H-1B.
Correct.
So anyways, you restricted your employer pool. Now, if your child's gone to Harvard or Yale or wherever, right, and they get an opportunity at a great startup, which could be the next NVIDIA, they can't take that opportunity because startups don't sponsor H-1B visas, right? So from the first step on, international students are disadvantaged. And even if they get their H-1B visa, initially they're really happy about it, that they get to live and work in the United States. But then 5 years on, they realize they're not making the same amount of money as their peers who have green cards or are citizens. Then they realize at some point that they have hit a ceiling because you cannot get promoted beyond a point, because if your job profile changes, that resets your employment-based green card journey. So H-1B visa holders are stuck with their jobs or job profile. They cannot leave their industry and they can rotate between the big H-1B employers within the United States. There is no way to make a single dollar if you get laid off.
Unfortunately, because of all of the recent tech layoffs, I can imagine the heightened fear that these people live with, right? I mean, one is their ability to stay in country is tied to a status through their job.
Right.
Now, they don't know if they're going to be able to keep their job because of all these changes in tech. I would assume that adds mounting fear of their ability to stay back and has largely influenced some of these people's decision to choose EB5 now versus maybe even 5 to 7 years ago. Are you seeing a similar trend?
Absolutely. I mean, name a big Bay Area company and there have been layoffs. Oracle, Meta, Amazon. So again, we go back to this time and again that these H-1B visa professionals, they're working their butt off.
Yes.
And 80-hour weeks, 60-hour weeks, they're giving it all they have. But
Yeah.
you can't compete with AI, right? And you go back to square one, where it was like, hey, you entered the United States on an F1 visa, and it's kind of like becomes similar to not getting that H-1B visa and you have to leave. You're back to square one.
Right.
Because if you get laid off, it's not like only that company is not hiring. It's that industry where
Yes.
there is a hiring freeze.
Correct.
So there's always a ticking time bomb. These talented professionals are already disadvantaged because they cannot be involved with the startup, right? They cannot contribute sweat equity to a startup.
Right.
They cannot get that early equity at startup valuation. So they can only join established companies. By that time, the valuation is through the roof. They are not getting a piece of equity at all. So that again is a very big disadvantage.
Yeah. So I want to talk about Golden Gate.
Mhm.
You all have returned about $300 million in investor capital across 600 families. Congratulations
Thank you.
on your success. 800K is still not a small amount for some people, like we discussed. It's a combination of their savings and cashing their RSUs, family savings. So it's still a lot of money. What should investors be looking for when they're evaluating an EB5 partner such as yourselves?
Well, so you mentioned our repayment number, but one thing that I'm really proud of about my organization is that we've never defaulted.
Okay.
And
That's a big deal.
100% of the investors that were owed money, repayment became due, they were repaid in full. So that is something we are really proud of. Now, when it comes to evaluating as an EB5 investor, people are evaluating two things. One is the regional center, and the second is the project. When it comes to a regional center, so when I used to practice as an attorney, EB5 attorney, I would look at the track record. While we always make this statement that past success is not a guarantee of future performance, it at least shows you the intent of the organization. If there has been an organization that's been in the industry for 15 years and has a track record of repaying investors, it at least shows you they are in it for the right reasons, right? So if something has to go wrong, it probably goes wrong with the project. But if there's an organization that's been around for 15 years and has not repaid capital, it just tells you something about the organization itself. I would say as an attorney, when I evaluated projects, the first thing was I used to take a deep dive into regional center track record.
Okay.
So it's important not only to have I-526E approvals or I-829 approvals, it's also important to have a repayment track record. So that's one. And then focus shifts to the project.
Okay.
And people get blinded by rural and high unemployment, these categories. But end of the day, I think most investors, they may get the green card a year or two late, but if they get their money back, they'll be happier versus getting their green card sooner and losing their capital.
Correct.
So I think the focus needs to be the quality of the project, and then you evaluate whether it's a rural or high unemployment. So I always tell the investors that I speak with, if you have two equal projects, then definitely go for rural because it's faster.
Correct.
But if the high unemployment project is better structured and the likelihood of getting your capital back is higher, then absolutely get that green card a couple of years later, but invest in the high unemployment project.